Each of us wants to enter Jannah, or the paradise. Why not enter it from its middle gate? Find out more in a few moments. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to a new episode of Youth Talk. First of all, I'd like to welcome my guests in the studio. I have with me Sheikh Waleed Basyouni, the instructor at the American Open University in Virginia, the Imam of the Clear Lake Islamic Center in Houston, and a member of the Fatwa Committee in the Muslim Jurist of North America. Sheikh Waleed, it's a pleasure having you with us.
It's my pleasure to be with you, Karim.
I also have with me in the studio Samir, who is an administrative manager for a production company, as well as Sabir, a manager of an education center, and Muhammad, who is an engineer. Sheikh Waleed, what is it exactly that we are referring to when we speak about the middle gate of Jannah?
Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, wa salatu wa salamu ala ashraf al-anbiya wal-mursaleen, Nabiyyina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. All praise due to Allah, and His praise and blessings and peace be upon His Prophet Muhammad and his family and his companions and his followers until the Day of Judgment. The middle gate of Jannah. First of all, let's analyze this word, middle gate of Jannah. Middle, which means in Arabic awsat, always refer to the widest, to the most beautiful one, to the best. So we're talking about the best gate, the most widest gate, and the most beautiful gate. So it's a very special gate. And gate, yes, because there are so many gates for Jannah. There is 8 gates for the Jannah. As the Prophet ﷺ once told his companions, the paradise or the heavens has 8 gates. And the Prophet ﷺ told us that one of them called Ar-Rayyan, where the people who offer fasting a lot, often fast in this dunya, will enter from that gate. And there is a gate for the people who praise a lot. But there is one gate the Prophet ﷺ also mentioned in another hadith, and he called that gate the middle gate of Jannah. And that hadith reported by Abi Dawood and others, that Abu Darda radiallahu anhu ardah, once a man approached him and asked him a question about a problem between him and that man and his wife. So, and also between him and his parents. So Abu Darda radiallahu anhu said, that I heard the Prophet ﷺ saying that parents are the middle gate of Jannah. What this hadith means that serving your parents, taking care of your parents, being dutiful to your parents, being kind to your parents, what do we call it in Arabic language? Birr al-walidain, is the middle gate of Jannah. As if fasting is one of the gates in Jannah, the people who fast a lot, they will enter. There will be people known as that they have birr al-walidain in this dunya, they will enter from this middle gate. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us among them.
Does the word birr al-walidain mean, or is it enough to say that it means being dutiful, being, for example, obedient, being kind to your parents? Is there an exact meaning in the English language to the word?
Bir is a very unique word, even in Arabic language. There is no single word can explain the meaning of bir in Arabic. So what about a foreign language? You know, it's kind of hard to say. It means being kind, being nice, being supportive. It's all these meanings together. But originally the word bir, it comes from, it has usually 2 meanings. Something good you deliver to other people. And also it has another meaning, which is something you believe in. That's why we refer to faith as bir. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in Surah Al-Baqarah, وَلَكِنَّ الْبِرَّ مَنْ آمَنَ بِاللَّهِ. Bir is believing in Allah. So basically, you do good to other while you're believing in it. So you being good to your father, good to your mother, and you believe in the importance of this and the necessity of this, and in the same time you delivering to them all kind of good. So it starts from spiritual things, like being kind, nice, talking in a nice way, and so on, all the way to the most materialistic way, being physically supporting them, financially, whatever kind of support they need.
Okay, I'd like to find out from our guests in the studio as well what Birr al-Walidain is to them. Muhammad, for example.
According to me, by respecting them and listening to their views or opinions, even if I disagree with them, I should bear their advices in mind because they have experiences more than me.
Samir?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. As my brother said, when I say Birr al-Walidain, I have to remember one thing, how I please my Lord, Allah Azza wa Jal, that He ordered me how to obey my parents. Even if they order me or they tell me something against my will.
Even if you don't agree completely with them.
I have to remember 100% that what Allah ordered me, I must keep this inside my mind. So this is Birr al-Walidain, what means to me.
And Sabir?
According to me, and as my brother Muhammad says, that I have to obey my parents to be good, to do what Allah told me and what Allah ordered to me. So if I opposite with the orders that my fathers and my mother told me, maybe that will repeat to me as a good result to me.
Samir, what about, for example, Samir, about like helping them, or not only being obedient to what they say, but actually providing them with support, for example, doing things that they are currently incapable of doing, like errands, tasks, things like that, I mean?
Personally, I have my mother, because my father is dead. I'm trying to be her right hand, because I'm working 24 hours. The time which I'm trying to spending with her to please her, not financial, because financial she's not waiting something from me. How I'm keeping her happy, go outside.
Being with her, supporting her.
Yeah, if she had some problems, she want to talk with me, she must feel that I'm listening very well to her, so she can feel that someone, her son, listening carefully to her, and he's taking care of her.
And he's there when she needs him.
Yeah.
Sheikh Waleed, about the importance of Birr al-Walidain and what we were just talking about with the other guys.
No doubt that Birr al-Walidain is one of the ultimate goal of Sharia. In general, Islam wants you to have a good manners. General Islam wants you to be good to others. And there is one fundamental issue in our religion, that the people who are the closest to you, they deserve your help and respect and your kindness more than anybody else.
Yes.
So the closest people to you, no doubt, they are your parents. You know, your parents are the direct reason for you to be exist. You know, that's why the right is so great. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in four times in Quran, if it's not even more than that, but in Surah Al-Nisa, Surah Al-A'raf, Isra, Surah Al-An'am, and other surahs as well, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala order us to obey them immediately after order us to obey Him. Or not to commit shirk, not to worship other than Allah, and not to be bad to our parents. As well as the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. For instance, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَاعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ وَلَا تُشْرِكُوا بِهِ شَيْئًا وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. Worship Allah, don't worship other than Allah, or don't take partner with Allah, and be good to your parents. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَقَضَى رَبُّكَ أَلَّا تَعْبُدُوا إِلَّا إِيَّاهُ وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. Allah ordered, described upon you, or decreed upon you, that you worship Him alone and being good to your parents. The scholar said, because Allah the one who created you, and your parents are the one who brought you to life. So that's kind of
The link.
the connection. And also the Prophet ﷺ, when he mentioned the worst sins, the worst sin among the major sins, Akbar al-Kaba'ir, he starts with shirk, which worshipping other than Allah, then immediately uquq al-walidain, being bad or treating your parents in the wrong way, not being good, not fulfilling your duty towards your parents. This is called uquq al-walidain. So shows you clearly the importance of this issue. It's a very fundamental issue in religion. And when you talk about Muhammad ﷺ and his message, one of the most standing out points in the Sharia is birrul walidain, being good and dutiful to your parents.
Sheikh Waleed, is there a practical way of being, or what is the practical way of being good to your parents or being kind to your parents? Are there certain, like for example, steps that one can take, issues that one should pay attention to?
Yeah. See, if you look at the verses in Quran and the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, it kept this meaning very wide open. It's ma'roof. صاحبهم في الدنيا معروفة. Ma'rufa, it means whatever people agree upon is good. Whatever we agree as something good, we have to do it. That's why it's different from one time to another, from one culture to another. Maybe in some culture, kissing the hand of the parents is something good. But other culture, they're not used to that. If you go for a Western culture, they not have this kind of kissing the hand or kissing the head. It's not part of the culture. But doesn't mean this is the way you have to do it in order for to please your parents. But whatever people agree upon, that this is something good, commonly known as good, you have to do it to your parents. If we want to know if we want to translate this to be in a practical form, I think we need to know what's the rights of the parents, maybe, and the rights upon us, what we have to offer them. And before we go into this, I just want to remind ourselves that this religion, subhanAllah, is based on justice. Islam gave parents rights, but on the other hand, also asked them that they or told them that they have duties and responsibilities. But one of the rights that they should be obeyed, that we should obey our parents, and that's something the brothers emphasize on and mention. Obeying the parents is something must. The Prophet ﷺ told Mu'adh ibn Jabal radiyallahu anhu ardah, أطع والداك وإن أمراك أن أطع والداك أو أطع والداك وإن أمراك أن تخرج من أهلك ومالك. Obey your parents. Obey your parents, even if they ask you to leave a business that you are involved in, or to, the hadith said, أهلك, even if they ask you to leave your wife, but there is a condition, and we will come into that to understand exactly what this means. But obeying parents is must. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered us to obey them, and the Prophet ﷺ ordered us to obey the parents. So that's one of the rights, or what you think?
Yes, completely. And I can add some points that some points of helping or paying our parents by helping them and supporting them, not only financial but also physical. And because I think in foreign countries or West, as a Sheikh mentioned, he said that they nothing called kissing their hands for obedience, but there is something. They know in foreign countries, the new generations or the son neglect their parents, and I think if we visit our parents and here and foreign countries, it will be something of obedience for parents.
Sabir, do you think that obedience or obeying what your parents want, that comes until a certain age, for example? Anyway, usually when you're at a young age, you obey your parents because you don't know what is right from wrong. But let's assume that you're now your age, you're grown up, you're responsible. Do you think that obedience now is, you can think more for yourself, so I tend to see whether or not to obey my parents? Is it something to do with age, do you think?
Yeah, maybe firstly, no one can deny the role of our parents. So we can say that all of people in this world can deal with all of us by mercy. But according to our parents, that's maybe have more important to what. If I do, he asked that Muhammad told us that do what you want, like you do, like you meet. So I have to be afraid from the punishment after that. If I have the more thinking about what I'll do, maybe that's good or true, I have to return to my parents to tell me that the good way.
I'll go now straight to some questions from our guests.
Sheikh, I would like to ask a main question from me, or it's an important question. What the limit of obeying our parents?
Good question. The Prophet ﷺ explained that clearly when he said, إِنَّمَا الطَّاعَةُ فِي الْمَعْرُوفِ, obedience only in what is good. And who defined good from bad? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it lawful is good. Whatever He said it's forbidden, it's bad. So if your parents ask you to do what is not right, what is Islamically not right or correct, not your personal opinion, what Islamically is not right or correct, in this case you don't obey them. You say, I don't obey you. You said, sorry, this is not allowed, because our love to Allah is way beyond our love to our parents, or respect and obedience to Allah way beyond anybody else. The rule is لا طاعة لمخلوق في معصية الخالق. We don't obey any human being if this is going to lead to disobeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Muhammad? There was
asking him. For example, Sheikh, if my parents asked me to make a divorce because they may not disagree with my wife, for example, am I obeying them in this thing?
In a sense of divorcing your wife because your parents requested you to do so.
Before I go specifically to this point, I would like to say something. You're not allowed to take advantage of your rights. If Allah give you the right to be obeyed, it doesn't mean that I will use this against my children. Some parents, they use this as a tool of pressure.
Yes.
You know, you have to do that because you have to obey me. Okay, Allah give you this right, but don't abuse it. Don't abuse your right. Don't misusing it. Don't use it as a tool against your children, as if you're threatening them all the time. I'll be angry at you. You go to hellfire. I think this is by doing that, I think the parents lose the respect sometimes from the children. So they make sure that they don't do that with their children and don't abuse your right. That's one. Two, in regard to this issue about divorcing your wife, Imam Ahmad rahimahullah once been asked by a man. The man told him, my father asked me to divorce my wife. Should I obey him? Then Imam Ahmad said no. Simply. The man said, but there is a hadith, and it's authentic hadith, where Umar radiallahu anhu ordered his son, Abdullah, to divorce his wife, and he did. So Imam Ahmad told him a beautiful answer. He said, if your father like Umar, obey him. In a sense, that so many times parents will ask you to divorce your wife for no good reason.
Yes.
Just because they don't like her, or because they feel jealous from her. If there is a good reason, let's say he see something really wrong with her, and her deed, and her manners, and you were not aware of that, yes, you obey your parents. Some people use the example of Ibrahim, Prophet Ibrahim with his son Ismail, that he ordered him to divorce his wife, and he did, the first wife. We cannot make this analogy because this is a prophet. Not necessarily every parent or every father and mother reach that level. But again, I'm not saying that we don't care about our parents, but we care about the Sharia and the rules of Sharia, because divorce is something not good. We don't want to happen in the society. And this also, in regard to this, if the parents ask if he refused to marry his daughter to somebody proposed to her. So the Sharia said, if he abuses his rights, if we find out that he doesn't want her to get married because, and that's unfortunately reason for some parents,
Some people.
because he takes advantage of her salary. His daughter working, she bring money to the house, and he doesn't want her to marry now.
Yeah.
In this case, we said no. Or he doesn't want her to get married, even if she needs to get married. She said, I can't live like that. And I had cases in America where some sisters tell me, I have to get married if I want to stay, if I want to save my Islam and my deen. Her parents maybe overseas or another country said, no, she has to finish her college. In this case, I talk to the parents, they don't answer, they don't try to understand the need of their daughter, and they think that education more important than deen or religion. In this case, Sharia said the wilaya or the guardianship will be given to somebody else or more wise to make that decision. My point is, we don't miss or abuse our rights,
Yes.
but again, the parents has to be paid in whatever is considered as lawful or ma'ruf.
I'd like to ask something else. Sheikh, there is a word called anta wa maluka li abik. Most of
You and whatever belong to you, belongs to your father.
To your father. We want to clear this word because most of parents are
Sometimes abuse the meaning or
yeah. So
or
we want to explain this one,
misunderstand
please.
This hadith, it means basically if a father walked into his son's house and took money from his son's or his daughter's, his own daughter's money, like her own money. If he took from her money or his money, I mean his son, he will not be considered as a thief. So the hadith related to this, you're not going to be considered as a stealing from your son. You don't steal from your daughter because whatever she has from her own money, not her husband's money,
Yes.
and your son's money, not your son's wife's money.
Yes.
No, this not considered stealing. That what the hadith is talking about, referring to this meaning that it will not be considered a form of stealing. That's one. Two, belong to your father. That means you cannot say I did a favor to my father by giving him a charity or sadaqah, or I can't give my father from the zakat money, for example. I can't give him from the zakat. Why? Because I'm obligated to support him financially. But again, we don't miss or we don't abuse our rights or taking advantage of our position and try to do something that might harm my son or my daughter. And usually parents, they don't think this way.
I would ask you, Sheikh, if one of my parents asked me to do something wrong, what can I do? Just from one hand. From another hand, if I want to take a piece of advice, how?
Good. I think it has a lot to do also with how old is the person. Maybe if you're old enough, they will respect you. But sometimes it's hard with a teenager. How can they say no to their parents? I said, you just say it simply. Mom or dad, I can't do that. No, this is haram. I can't be. Let's say she asked you to go purchase cigarettes. He asked you to go purchase cigarettes for you. Tell him cigarettes is not allowed. Smoking is not allowed in Islam. It's forbidden. I can't buy cigarettes for you. Basically, you have to be clear to say that. If they told you, I want you to do this or that, or lie, try not to say, I can't do that, and try to show your respect, your support, obey them in the area which is lawful, and advise them gently and nicely.
So it is okay for the son or the daughter to actually advise the parent and not necessarily the other way around. That does in no way reduces the obedience.
But it has to be in a very respectful
delicate way.
Yeah, I can give you an example. I know one brother, his father, he was a good Muslim, but he usually wouldn't go to the masjid and practice everything in Islam, so the way it should be. So what he did, he told his parents, after Asr, I would like to read with you a book. And he chose a book, and he started reading 5 minutes after each Asr prayer. 5 minutes. This brother told me, this 5 minutes changed his parents' life. They turn over, they changed their whole life to be changed 180 degree to be, alhamdulillah, they care more about the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, practicing everything in the right way. So sometimes you throw like a book or a CD or a tape, or maybe invite them, maybe bring a DVD, has a lecture or something like that. Ask them to join you to the masjid, to the if there is an activity in the Islamic center next to you or in the masjid, maybe ask your father to go with you. Maybe inviting somebody older than you, like a sheikh or a scholar to visit your house and meet your father. These things can change them in a nice way.
Okay, we'll take a short break and we'll be back with more about Birr al-Walidain.
Brothers and sisters, to increase your iman.
خيركم من تعلم القرآن وعلمه ورتل القرآن ترتيلا. Learning how to recite the Quran properly, learning the meaning of what we recite, including the ahkam from the verses which we recite, trying to implement what we learn in our daily life. We'll listen to the participants and the guests. We'll take your phone calls. We're going to recite live. We'll listen to your recitation and we'll correct it according to the rules and regulations which we'll state in each episode. Now your dream will come true.
إنا نحن نزلنا الذكر وإنا له لحافظون.
Welcome back to Youth Talk. Sheikh Waleed, we've spoken about being kind to your parents or supporting them financially. Is there anything else or anything else to do to be obedient to them apart from being kind, for example? Anything practical maybe that we could talk about?
To answer the question, I just want to ask Brother Muhammad a question. If you can go back in time, okay, and you go to Medina 1,400 years ago or 1,400 years ago, and you there in the Prophet ﷺ times, and now the Prophet ﷺ is in Medina, okay, and you living just hundreds of miles away from Medina, what do you think you would do? Would you stay where you live, or will you move to Medina to be with the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ?
I think I'll move to be with the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Okay, if now there is the Prophet ﷺ was attacked, and now he's protecting himself and the Medina, and the army is ready to go to defend the message of Islam. Samir, would you participate in such army with the Prophet ﷺ?
Sure.
Sure, definitely.
Yeah.
Do you have a doubt about that?
Yes.
No. I just want you to know these two incidents where the Prophet ﷺ been approached by a man and said, Ya Rasulullah, I came to join your army to protect Medina and to protect you and to protect this message, to fight for the sake of Allah. Then the Prophet ﷺ asked him, do you have parents? He said, yes. He said, I left them back home, my village, crying. The Prophet ﷺ said, go back to them and serve them. That's much better than participating in jihad with me.
Yes.
And in another narration, he said, أضحكهما كما أبكيتهم. Go make them laugh. See, make them laugh. That's a form of Birr al-Walidain. Make them laugh, make them happy, because they left them crying, because they were crying, they missed their son went for war, maybe he will die. Another incident, you know, have you heard about Uwais al-Qarni? Anybody heard about this name before? Uwais al-Qarni is among the tabi'een, the successors. Uwais al-Qarni, the Prophet ﷺ said, there is a man, his name Uwais al-Qarni, will come later on. If anybody of you met him, ask him to make istighfar for you. And he told that to Umar ibn al-Khattab. Umar. And Umar, when he met him later on, he asked him to make istighfar, make dua for him. What's so special about Uwais al-Qarni? Uwais al-Qarni exist in the Prophet ﷺ time, he was alive. But he did not come to Medina just because his mother was sick and he was serving her. He was living in Yemen. He missed the chance to be a companion, to be Sahabi, just to serve his mother. And maybe one more example. If I ask you, who is the most common Sahabi you know? Or the most common known among the Sahaba?
Umar ibn Khattab.
But as a narrator for the hadith, let's say.
Abu Hurairah.
Abu Hurairah. Everybody knows Abu Hurairah.
Yes.
Okay, Abu Hurairah all the time with the Prophet ﷺ. You will notice that Abu Hurairah did not describe the Prophet ﷺ Hajj at all. He never described the Prophet ﷺ Hajj. And he's a narrator of the hadith. You know why? Because his mother was sick during the Hajj.
Yeah.
And he did not join the Prophet ﷺ in Hajj in order for him to stay with his mother and to serve his mother. He rather to stay with his mother to serve her than making Hajj with the Prophet. That's something really required from us pause for a second and think about
Contemplate.
it. You know, if he sacrificed all those great things in order for him to please his parents, I think we need to review ourselves and to see how much really we care about serving our parents and taking care of them and looking after them. And so many examples like that. If I can be even more practical with more example, there is a great Imam, he's Egyptian descent, Ibn al-Qasim. He's one of students of Imam Malik. Once he was teaching in Medina, and all of a sudden he stood up. So the students were surprised why he stood up. He was sitting. You know why? He saw his mother walking outside in the street. And he thought it's disrespectful. It's a disrespect to be sitting while your mother is standing and walking. He stood up just because she walked by. Another one of the tabi'een was teaching in the Prophet ﷺ masjid. He's one of Imam Malik's sheikhs. He was teaching in the masjid. His mother came to him. Imagine a big sheikh, like, you know, in front of the students at the masjid, the Prophet ﷺ. And his mother walked into him and said, Ya Shuraih, take the seeds and go feed the chicken. Imagine, you know, if now the big sheikh, go feed the chicken. And he said yes, and he went and he did that and he came back. It's Ibn Aoun, once one of the great tabi'een also, his mother called him. He replied, said yes, but his voice was louder than his mother's voice. You know what he did? He freed a slave. He said, I consider that a sin, need repentance. What about us today? When we talk to our parents, we all use all these sarcastic way of talking. We talk with very loud voice. We don't care. Oh, you don't know anything. You know, you from another generation, you know. Mom, you still trap in the 70s? Now it's 2000. You know, we use all these sometimes. It's a joke, but sometimes not a joke. Sometimes we mean what we're saying. And it's very sad when you see people, they don't know how to respect really their parents. The Prophet ﷺ in the Isra wal Mi'raj, he saw, and he gave an example, he saw in front of him Haritha ibn Nu'man. Then the Prophet ﷺ said, this is what Bir al-Walidain will lead to. The Prophet ﷺ will be giving the ability to see what will happen in the future, in that sense, in Jannah. This is the place of Harith ibn Nu'man in Jannah. Then Aisha radiallahu anha said that Harith ibn Nu'man and Uthman ibn Affan, they used to be very good to their parents. You know what they used to do? Uthman radiallahu anha said, Uthman radiallahu anha said, I never ever stare at my mother's. I never ever put my eyes straight to her eyes. I always lower my gaze when I talk to her. Harith ibn Nu'man said that I never asked my mother to repeat what she said. I never. Another Zayn al-Abidin was, people noticed that he never eat with his mother in the same plate. So they asked him, why?
Why?
He said, because whenever I'm afraid when she's eating, maybe she was thinking about eating something or pick up something, and I picked it before her. Yeah. So I consider this like disrespect, that I took something she desired. To the simplest form.
Some people may think that these things are very simple, that they do not make any difference, or they're not such a strong meaning. I mean, but it
means a lot. It means a lot. If you think about the smallest things, I'm sure that you will think also about the great thing. Being good to your parents, it's an area where I think people can compete with each other. Yes. It's like an area, it's an open field for everybody to think about the best way to please them, to make them happy, to make them satisfied. Ibn Sirin said, I spend the night massaging my mother's feet, and my brother spent the whole night praying. He said, Wallahi, I believe that my night is way, way better than his night. The reward I will get by massaging my mother's feet, way more than the reward I will get if I spend the whole night praying. Yeah. I mean, this shows you these great scholars, they view the issue of Bir al-Walidain in very different perspective than the way we see it. We take it very lightly, and they are taking it very seriously.
To the
They're
simplest
taking-
details, to the
Yeah.
to the smallest details.
And so many examples, like when you think about how I'm going to please my mom. One great, another example I gave you, of Abu Hanifa radiallahu anhu ardahu rahimah, the great Imam, the faqih. Abu Hanifa was forced to be a judge, but he said, I don't want to be a judge. Anyway, he told the ruler a very nice answer. He said, I'm not qualified to be a judge. He said, if this is a true statement, you're not allowed to hire somebody who's not qualified. And if this statement is not true, you cannot hire a liar. If it's not true, I'm not qualified, and I'm lying now, you can't hire me as a judge because I'm I'm lying. A liar should not be a judge. Anyway, he was forced, even he was beaten and he was bleeding. He got a wound in his forehead. He was seen crying. They asked him, Ya Imam, you're a sheikh, why are you crying? He said, because this mark in my forehead. And if my mom see this, she will be so sad and she will cry. And I can't take that. He used to carry his mother to the side of Al-Kufa, to an old sheikh, his name Amr ibn Dhar. He's an old man, but his mother trusts, this old man known in the village. And her son is her son. He's still the child. He's not going to change, even if he's Abu Hanifa. So if she has a question, she tells Abu Hanifa, take me to this person to ask him. Abu Hanifa, everybody comes to ask him. So every time he takes his mother to Amr ibn Dhar, and guess what, brothers? When he goes there and he said, my mom has a question. And I was surprised. Abu Hanifa asking him, said, yes, my mom has the question. Then he will tell him the question. You will be surprised to know that Amr ibn Dhar, most of the cases he said, I don't know the answer. So Abu Hanifa will tell him the answer. Then he will tell the answer to Abu Hanifa's mother. He never said, Mom, I'm sick of taking you all the time over there. Let me give you the answer straight. Like when your mother asks you to take her to the doctor, I'm busy. Your mom asks you to take her to the mall. Mom, I told you I have something to do. I'm busy with my wife, or I'm busy with this. Abu Hanifa never said that. He took her, and even he will be the one who will end up answering the questions. I can share with you hundreds
Many
of stories like that. But really, it needs from us to think about it seriously, that we need to change our relationship with our parents.
Yeah, according to parents, maybe more practical according to his children, to find the good ways.
They have more experience, for example, than their children, to show them the right way to proceed.
Firstly, I have the words to express what I feel like. Direct to my parents because maybe do more things to me. I thank all of them to make me a man like in a good form and have a good education.
Education and so on.
Education, yes.
Sheikh Waleed.
There's so many duties on their shoulders. This is the way it works. As much Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give you very high position, as much Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put so much responsibility on your shoulder. So, like the ruler, he has a very respected position in the society, but he has a very big role responsibility in the society. Parents, they have a great position in Islam, but they have a great roles and responsibility as well. You or we as parents, I don't know about all of you, but I have, when I think about my own daughters or son, I think there is a responsibility upon me, as you said, I'm role model. I have to know that whatever I do, they copy me. They will be copying me, not necessarily now. Maybe later on, when they became old, they will start behaving you. So if you treat your wife in front of your son in a wrong way, believe me, your son will abuse his wife as well. I remember I read the statistics that 81% from those who abuse their wives, they have seen their parents or their father abusing their mothers. If you use bad language, false language, your son will start doing the same. If you're driving your car, if somebody did something or you start cursing or using bad words, he will do the same thing. If you lie, your son will lie. If you smoke, your son will smoke. You can't tell your son, oh, don't smoke, it's not good for your health. And mashallah, you're smoking. You have to know that you are a model and you have to behave this way. If you choose to be a parent or a father or mother, know that they will copy you. They will follow your footsteps. That's one thing. Second, we have to make sure that we raise them from the early age to have what I call the good characteristic. We care about building their characteristic from the early age. You know, I remember that, let's put it that way, like my father would tell me if somebody came to ask about me, I'm not supposed to tell him my father is not home. I'm supposed first to offer him, to welcome him and offer him to go inside the house. Before I tell my father's not here, I said, come on inside, please. That's how your parents should teach the person or their sons from the early age that you should be generous. You know, how many parents today would tell his son, I want to give you an extra money so you can buy a gift for your friends in the Eid? How many parents, they teach their children today that, you know, when you go with your friend, make sure that you try to take care of them. Maybe you pay for their food once or twice. Teach them to be generous. Teach them to be patient. How many parents, they care about these small things? It's not small. I think this is how you will shape your son or your daughter in future. How to teach your daughter modesty from the early age, that she be modest. These kind of things, I think it's our responsibility as parents to put it in our children or to raise our children with it. Also, I would like to say that one of our responsibilities towards our children, that we raise them religious. Tell them about the religion. Tell them about Islam. Tell them about the Prophet ﷺ. Ibn Sa'd, in his book Al-Tabaqat, told that the Sahaba used to call their newborn babies after the shuhada of Uhud, the people who died in Uhud. So their legacy will be remembered. Their stories will be remembered and will be told afterwards. They used to teach them about the life of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the seerah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In Canada, one doctor, one brother, he's a doctor, he told me that once he had a patient, and that patient had AIDS, and he was dying in his last moments. He said, I was there. And I called his mom and I said, your son is in a very critical situation. Rush to the hospital. His mom came, and she's from a Muslim country. And the doctor told me that he saw the man dying in front of him. So he told the mother, why don't read Al-Fatiha on him? The mother said, I'm sorry, I don't memorize Al-Fatiha. Then he told his mother, you Muslim, his name is Muhammad or something like that. So the mother said, we've been here for a long time, I forgot about the Fatiha. She said, my son was an A student, was a good student, until he met that girl who transferred this disease to him. You know, he's a good student, the good man, a good son, just because he's A student. But what about his deen? He never prayed. He never practiced his deen. Is that your duty, only to make your son or your daughter, mashallah, well educated, then in the hereafter, Allah knows where they're going to be? The doctor told me, wallahi, I was there when he was in his last breath. I came closer to him and I told him, say La ilaha illallah. And after, I was like overexcited. And you know, in America, in a Western country, you're not supposed to do this as a doctor. And he said, I forgot everything. And I'm trying to save this young man before he dies. And I kept saying, say La ilaha illallah, illallah. He said, finally, he moves his lips and starts saying something. He said, I came closer, and what was the words? I missed her. I miss her. I miss her. Yeah. Referring to his girlfriend. And he died without saying La ilaha illallah. What's his mother position? Is that what you want your kids or your children to be in the future? This is your duty. This is your responsibility. Remember, your son can come in the day of judgment in your skill as an extra reward, an extended life and good deeds for you after your death. If you teach your son how to pray, your daughter how to read Quran, every time they read Quran, you share the ajr. Every time they pray, you share the ajr. But if they die, if you die and you love them if you taught them bad manners, bad habits, you carry this with you after your death. So I think there's great responsibilities on our shoulder as a parents.
Sheikh Waleed, let's move quickly, because I think that the time is running thin, to people who do not experience, or do not actually practice Birr al-Walidain, or do not show Birr al-Walidain to their parents. What is that situation like?
There is a very beautiful lines, and it's poetry written by one of the modern poets. But I'm not going to say the Arabic one. I'm going to say what it means, because the meaning is so beautiful, that a man, for some reason, he decided to kill his own mother. Yeah. So, and bring her heart. It's a poetry. It's a story. It's not supposed to be
It's not
true.
real. It's not supposed to be true.
Yeah, but the story has a beautiful meaning. Anyway, he decided to do that. Somebody said, I will give you a lot of money if you kill your mother, bring her heart to me. He did that. He killed the mother. He took the heart out, and he was carrying the heart, running to the guy to get the gold. In his way, he trapped, and he fall down, the heart fall down. He went to the heart to pick it up, and the heart immediately told the son, are you okay, son? The heart of the mother worry about the son that he fall down. Then when he heard the heart talking to him, telling, are you okay? He took the same knife that he killed his mother, and he about to kill himself. So the heart immediately screamed and said, stop, don't stab my heart twice. Don't kill me twice. That's the mother. Don't kill me twice. You kill me the first time by killing yourself, you're just killing me again. That's the nature of the mother. That's the nature of the father. It's really hard to describe, hard to imagine somebody abusing his mother to the extent. I witnessed this, nobody else. When I prayed on a funeral prayer on one sister, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put her in Jannah, that her son took her in a Muslim country, who took her in front of the mall, and he left her in front of the mall and said, Mom, this is the hospital, just wait for your turn. And he ran away. And she doesn't know anybody in that city. And the night, the security guard came and said, what are you waiting? He said, I'm waiting for, this is the hospital? She said, no hospital, this is a mall. And they took her to a place where elder people goes, like a nursing house. And she died next day. Next day, immediately, she passed away. You know, can it reach that level? Yes, some people, they disrespect their parents. They raise their voice. They challenge their parents. They don't care about pleasing them. It took him a month just to make a phone call, a week to make a phone call to your mom. I don't care where you live and where she lives or your parents lives. A week and you have no communication with your parents? That's hard to believe. A Muslim has a heart full of iman. He neglect his parents' rights to that extent. It's hard to think about somebody who knows that his mother or his father are poor and he living in luxury. It's hard to believe that there is a Muslim who knows the meaning of Birr al-Walidain, and he really will pass every prayer or time after month after another, and he never made a single dua for his parents. He knows that his parents, maybe they did not perform Hajj and Umrah, and he never thought about doing this to them after their death, or if they are sick, or paying for their trip to go to do the Hajj or Umrah. I think this is very sad, but unfortunately we have some example. The brother talked about people in other non-Muslim societies.
Yes.
I have seen great examples out there. I'll be honest with you. It's not really that picture that we always think, but I see also bad examples and good examples. But it's sad when you see it in a people, the religion emphasizes so much on the important.
Sheikh Waleed, at the end, how can one overcome the very simple problems that occur between him and his parents, for example, to look beyond that into the true type of respect and Birr al-Walidain that we should actually show to them?
I would like to say Birr al-Walidain is not an easy thing. See, it's the middle gate of Jannah. So don't think you're going to just, it's an easy path. It's a very hard task. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, صَاحِبُهُمَا فِي الدُّنْيَا مَعْرُوفٌ. Don't think, especially if they get old, because there's a lot of problems. It's very hard to sometimes to accept what they're saying, or to, because of there is a generation gap here, or like a time gap between you and them. So don't think it's hard. First of all, you need to know it's a struggle. It's a mujahada, and you have to be patient with that. 2, make sure that you are not the one who caused this problem. And I mean by that, so many of us tell his wife to cut her relationship with her parents. And I'd be mad if I see her talking to her mom. You know why? I should encourage that. And if I want my parents to be good to me, I have to help my wife to be good to her parents. It's the other way around. Your wife became mad if you see me supporting my family financially or visiting them or spending time. Don't be mad, be happy. Sometimes we create the problem. We
are the cause.
We are the cause of the problem. And if there is a problem, be patient and know that this dunya is a temporary life. You can overcome this with patience, with finding other alternatives to do what you want to do if your parents is not pleased with it. But remember
And be kind
that Allah
and,
subhanahu wa ta'ala will be pleased with you if your parents are pleased with you.
Yes.
I'd like to thank, of course, Sheikh Waleed Basyouni. It's always a pleasure having you with us. And, of course, my guests as well. I have with me Samir, Sabir and Muhammad. Thank you all for joining us. We'll be back again with more on Youth Talk next time.
La la la